In case you're wondering why I have a mic on today, mic check, check. It's because we're standing on business, big business. Hi, everyone. My name is Tabitha. Welcome to Tabby Talk. I have a lot to talk about, and I hope you stick around. Welcome to my 10 for 10 series where I talk about how I paid off $10,000 worth of debt and also saved $10,000. I wasn't sure if I wanted to start this series with how I paid off $10,000 worth of debt or how I saved $10,000. Either way, these are topics that nobody wants to talk about because you're either saving money that you cannot touch in the meantime or paying off money and watching your money leave. If you're not ready for this conversation yet, you can bookmark this and come back to it, or you can watch. Your mindset might be changed at the end of this conversation once you learn the importance of why you need savings and how you can do it. In case you're watching this thinking, girl, how are we going to save in this economy with layoffs happening left and right, stock market being horrible? And let's not talk about groceries. When that grocery bill comes up, it looks like inflation to me. So you want to prepare yourself for economic situations that happen without us knowing, because we don't have a control of what happens externally when it comes to the economy, but you can control what happens within. And the first way to control what happens within is being prepared. Bills are up, rent is up, everything is up, and so should your savings. Don't be fooled into thinking you need to make X amount of money in order for you to save. If you cannot save in the financial bracket that you're currently in, I promise you, it doesn't matter how much more you're making, you're not going to be able to, because you train your mind. Say you're like, well, I need to make six figures in order for me to save. I can save right now. When you make six figures, guess what's going to happen? You're going to want to raise your lifestyle. Now you can afford to live in a more expensive area. Now you can afford to buy more expensive things. You're going to up your lifestyle and you're going to find out that you still cannot save. So wherever you are, you have to train your mind in that current situation to prepare yourself for any situation that might come. In case you're wondering, where do you start? The first step to take towards savings is your mindset. You have to prepare your mind for what's to come. If you're not ready to save, you can watch 10, 20 videos on people telling you how to save. But if you're not mentally ready for that conversation, it's not going to happen. However, I would say if you are watching this video or more videos, it doesn't have to be mine. If you're watching any video on how to save, you are one step towards that goal. The next step is thinking about what your goals are. Why are you saving? Are you saving towards your emergency fund? Are you saving towards a house? Are you saving towards buying a Chanel bag? It doesn't matter. I'm not here to judge. Are you saving towards a kid? It really doesn't matter. Whatever your goals are, there are ways to attain that goal. But I would say, though, before you save towards that Chanel bag, you should probably have some emergency funds. Understanding what your saving goals is very important because it helps you look at where you need to be. You also compare it to where you are. So if you're trying to save towards put in a down payment on a house, for instance, and you look at where you are, you crunch the numbers and you realize, damn, I probably need another job. That's okay. At least you know what you need to do and you have your goals in order. So whatever it is, specify your goals so that you know where to start. So let's talk about the different type of savings buckets, as I like to call it. The first tier of that is the emergency fund. The reason why an emergency fund is so important is because whatever happens, when you have an emergency fund, you always have something to fall back on. Without an emergency fund, when something uncertain happens, you are left to figure out how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to feed yourself, how you're going to live, period. That's what an emergency fund is for. So your emergency fund, rule of thumb, is to have 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. Your emergency fund should include your living expense, how much you pay towards groceries and feeding yourself on a weekly or daily basis, and summarize that number, times it by 3. That is 3 months worth of your living expense. So let's talk about the next savings bucket. This is also very similar to an emergency fund. They call it the rainy day funds. These are things that you can't live without those. The rainy day funds are for situations that catch you off guard. You know when you're having a really good week and you go into your car and it sounds different and there's like those yellow lights on the board? That's what a rainy day fund is for. However, some people do mesh this with their emergency fund. I personally do. Um, I I didn't think it had to be separate because emergency is an emergency. The next saving bucket is a sinking fund. This is for funds that you are prepared for. So, like a down payment to a house, or if you're saving towards buying a car, saving towards buying something big, and you don't have the money right now, but you're putting a little bit here and there into that fund. That's what a sinking fund is for. Next saving bucket is the vacation fund. This is more fun. This is probably where everyone's like, okay, something light we can talk about. This is a conversation that you would like to have. A vacation fund obviously is towards a vacation, travel. It doesn't have to be a vacation fund if you're not someone who likes to travel. It can just be fun fun. Me personally, I have a savings account called Fun Funds. Money goes towards this account for my monthly self-care days. I do a monthly self-care day where I go out and live my best life and I spend that check and it clears because I deserve it. You can have fun with this. It can be a vacation fund, a fun funds, whatever fund you want to have fun with. Another saving fund is your medical expenses. This is a little different from the other savings bucket that I've talked about, at least for me personally. This is where your health savings account comes in. Don't put this in a typical savings account. It's not a high yield savings account, but it's a health savings account, probably with your insurance. So if you want to save additionally to these savings bucket that I have mentioned, you do that. You're doing amazing, sweetie. But these are the important ones. If you made it this far into the video, congratulations to you. You know what that means? It means you're ready to start saving. We are one step towards your goal, and I'm so proud of you. Yes. So let's talk about how I saved my first $10,000. When I started saving, actually, I initially had a goal to save $5,000 in a 6-month period. This was because I realized I didn't have an emergency fund. So this is the mindset I talked about in the beginning. You have to be ready to do this. So what I did at the time was I knew I needed to save $5,000 in a 6-month period. So I divided 5,000 by 6. When I did this math, I knew I needed to save $833 a month. It's about $416 each paycheck if you're paid bi-weekly. So after I saved my first 5K, I was like, let me double it. If I did it, I can do it again. So I did it again and I saved my first 10K. Of course, you don't have to follow this exact steps as I did. This was just what worked for me at the time. Now, another thing that really helped me achieve my savings goal was automating my savings. This is very important. I would highly recommend this. To automate your savings, you kind of forget that you're saving. That money is gone. You don't see it. It's sitting in that savings. The only time you see the money is when you open your savings account for aesthetic. You open it, you look at it, you're like, yeah, I have that money. You close it, you leave because you're not touching your savings. We're not doing that. So much goes on when you set a goal and you achieve it. When you set a savings goal and you meet that goal, you start thinking to yourself, if I did this, I can do more. The same way I doubled my 5K into 10K. Maybe the next time we have this conversation, I'll be telling you how I saved my first 100K. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. Okay, let's manifest it. Now, if you've prepared yourself thus far to start saving and you don't know, where do I put my savings? Do I put it in a regular savings account or a high yield savings account? Definitely a high yield savings account. If anyone's curious about what good high yield savings account are out there, I could make another video talking about what high yield savings accounts I use and which ones I highly recommend. You do not want to leave your savings in an account that it just sits flat. Thank you for chatting with me today. I'll see you at the next video.